Mahomet made an account of the Sibyls writing on leaves in letter 16, so were the Sibyls of old inspired with sacred wisdom and foreknowledge of things to come. All filled with inward blasts of some immortal wind, the pregnant virgins soon conceived deep mysteries of fate, which they writ down on leaves of trees, for they were eremites, and 10 in number, as ancient records say. One of them lived at Cuma in Italy, where her cave is shown to travelers at this day. They foretold what should happen in after times, particularly the birth of Jesus the Son of Mary, but they never said a word of Sabati Sevi, or of any other Meshes to come after the first. These holy maids were had in great veneration by the Gentiles, who gathered up the scattered leaves whereon they writ their prophecies, and transcribed them carefully on paper, that so the sacred memoirs might be delivered safe down to posterity. The following is an alleged temple of Apollo in Italy, but I suggest you look into my work that proves the Etruscan Aplu is not borrowed from the Greeks, but rather the exact opposite, as the Italians, Etrusco-Phoenicians, civilized the Greeks. See my podcast Stellar Arcs, Sons of the Sea, Eros and the Godsacre of Eras. The repeating pattern of trying to prove Greek authenticity and antiquity is the actual necessity of returning to Italy to find the artifacts they'll use to make their case. Why not just find it all in the lands of Greece? In a post scheduled to publish on April 10th, I'll show you that the oldest Greek and Etruscan abecedarium are the same, and its implications. Justin Martyr showed the Old Testament was prophecy from the oracles of the Sibyls. The god of the Old Testament is the Phoenician Adonis. Therefore, the Sibyls are either Phoenician or taken from Phoenician and put into the Old Testament by the Greeks. I suspect the latter. In A Godsacre for Winds of the Soul, I explored this. If the Sibyls were forged, then it shows early Christians behaving this way, since Justin claimed that the Cumean Sibyl prophesied the advent of Christ. The current Sibyls are from multiple authors and not from the same moment of time. Higgins was of the opinion that it is likely they are the works of charlatans who didn't understand the judicial astrology encoded, if any part of the Sibyls is authentic. Isn't it interesting how this alleged Greek cave is in Italy? Pretty wild how this ancient Greek site with Roman arches and bricks is in Italy, eh? I guess it wasn't Romans who invented arches, but rather Greeks. According to the site from which I pulled this, brick slabs and truncated columns were temples to the Greek gods Zeus and Apollo, and later the Roman deities Diana and Jupiter. Ancient Greek settlement west of Naples. The more I look into these subjects, the more it betrays a hijacking of Italian culture by the Church and crediting it to so-called Greeks. Whether the Greeks were involved or it is merely the doing of scribes and status quo institutions of the Common Era, I do not yet know. But it is the tip of the iceberg of a massive body of forgeries and fraud. It starts with the discovery of Phoenicians being Italian Celts. They may be the Umbrians, or an earlier civilization, but their first great colony was Italy, and I'll give you a tool to prove it. Enjoy my latest book, Spirit World, Terminalia. Click the image. Europeans invented the art of navigation, which means that those you call Moors, Arabs, and other types from Africa were not the ancient Maori. On the contrary, Moor, or Mar, is a Phoenician word meaning great, lord, or prince, still used by Italians today in the name Maro, as well as compounded in many British and Gaulish names of princes such as Condomarus, Quismarus, Combolomarus, Induciamarus, Viridomarus, Titomarus, etc. From this Moor comes the Roman name Mars on account of the Romans being Etruscans, who were Phoenicians. It's quite obvious. This bust is of an Etrusco-Phoenician, otherwise known as an ancient Italian, found exactly where you'd expect it be found, Italy. There has been a serious subversion of European culture over the last few centuries to dumb us down and make us feel worthless, to make us afraid of the arena, to make us lower ourselves and our abilities to the comfort levels of people who cannot compete with us in our craftsmanship or our standards for civilization. My work gives you the tools to quash it. Equip yourself and embarrass these fools in public when they try to demonize us. Keep reading for evidence.